Imagine being one of the most wanted people in Nazi-occupied Europe. Imagine your name appearing in secret reports. Imagine your description being passed from one intelligence officer to another, and a reward being placed on your head. The enemy knows that if they capture you, they may finally break one of the most dangerous resistance networks in France. Now imagine that while the secret police is hunting you, you are moving through the darkness, crossing borders and organizing fighters. The Nazis gave her a code name. They called her the White Mouse because she was nearly impossible to catch. They interrogated people who knew her. They wanted her dead or alive, but she was always one step ahead. Her name was Nancy Wake, and her story sounds almost too extraordinary to be true. Born in New Zealand and living in Australia, she traveled through Europe and witnessed the rise of fascism firsthand. She saw what was happening to ordinary people as Nazi Germany expanded its power. She saw fear spreading through cities. And when France fell in 1940, Nancy Wake was no longer simply a witness. She became part of the fight. France had been defeated. Soldiers stood on street corners. Nazi flags flew over buildings. The Gestapo operated throughout the territory, searching for spies and anyone helping the Allies. But beneath the surface, another France emerged. Secret networks formed in homes, farms, and hidden rooms. Men and women who lived ordinary lives began carrying messages, hiding weapons, and helping people escape. They knew discovery could mean imprisonment, torture, or death. Yet they continued. Nancy Wake moved through this dangerous underground world, helping organize escape routes for Allied personnel. She understood that the resistance was a network of people who could disappear into the population. But Nancy Wake was not invisible. Her activities eventually made her one of the Gestapo's most wanted targets. The German secret police hunted for the woman they called the White Mouse. The nickname reflected their frustration. She was difficult to track, difficult to predict, and almost impossible to capture. Eventually, the pressure became so intense that she was forced to escape France across the Pyrenees. She was captured by the authorities in Spain and endured imprisonment before managing to escape to safety. Once she reached Britain, she joined the Special Operations Executive, trained to conduct sabotage. In 1944, as the Allies prepared for the liberation of France, Nancy Wake was sent back behind enemy lines. She was there to coordinate operations that could disrupt German forces at a critical moment. The invasion of Normandy had begun, and every hour mattered. Supplies and reinforcements had to be stopped. Nancy helped coordinate resistance in Auvergne, organizing fighters and distributing weapons. She operated in an environment where a single mistake could expose an entire network. Then came a remarkable moment. Resistance forces needed to establish communication with Allied headquarters. The equipment had failed, and without it, the network risked being isolated and destroyed. Nancy Wake knew the situation could not wait. She traveled an extraordinary distance by bicycle to deliver a message. It was a desperate journey through enemy territory where discovery meant certain death. She was not a superhero, but a human who understood that someone had to keep moving forward. So she did. The war in France was becoming more violent. Villages were searched, fighters were hunted, civilians threatened. Nancy found herself directly involved in combat operations, leading resistance fighters in open battle. She worked alongside men who trusted her with their lives. There was nothing glamorous about it. Outnumbered and outgunned, they fought because they believed France had to be free. She became a leader because she was willing to share their danger. The hunted woman was now the leader. By the summer of 1944, the balance of the war was changing. The German army was under increasing pressure. The liberation of France was approaching. Every mile still had to be fought for. Nancy Wake continued until the German forces finally began retreating. When the war ended, the woman who was the Gestapo, as most wanted target, had won. She did not become a legend for fame, but for courage. She represented something the Nazi regime struggled to understand. You cannot occupy the spirit of a people. Resistance can hide in a farmhouse, a forest, or a woman on a bicycle through the darkness. The Nazis called her the White Mouse because they could never catch her, but perhaps they misunderstood. It was not just her ability to escape, but her willingness to return and keep moving forward. Nancy Wake was a symbol of the courage that emerges when ordinary people decide fear will not control them. The Nazis wanted to catch the White Mouse. They never did. This was Nancy Wake.